One. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Explain It. My name is Caroline, and here's my lovely co-host Ingrid Hernandez. And today, I'm going to actually let you introduce who we have in here today, Ingrid.
Yeah, today we have Joel Landon with us from eQRP. So I went through the process of moving from one company to another and had a retirement plan that I was trying to figure out, what am I going to do with this? Everybody was like, go to a self-directed IRA. And I was like, okay. But once I started doing some research, I was like, wait, what's this UBIT tax thing? Wait, I have to have a custodian. Then why is it called self-directed? So after I learned that I didn't have as much control as I thought I had, I was like, is there another option? So I actually ran into a podcast ran by Damien. Am I saying his name right? Yeah.
Yeah, Damien. Yep.
So I was like, oh, wait, this might be a better retirement plan than a self-directed IRA. So I linked up with the eQRP company, and I was like, Joel, your customer service is so good that we have to talk about it on our podcast, because I would love for people to know that there's other options other than self-directed IRAs, and maybe if we could do some pros and cons, things like that. So Joel, if you would like to introduce yourself to the world and kind of give us some info about yourself.
Can do. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for letting me be on here. I love networking and connecting with other like-minded people. And if there's an opportunity for us to get the word out there to your community, we're all for it. So thank you first and foremost for letting me be here. And like Ingrid was saying, my name is Joel Landon. I've been with eQRP now for about 2 years as an employee. I've known eQRP now for about 4. I actually come from like a finance and banking background, and that's how I actually got hooked up with Damien Lupo as one of our clients, and got to know what he was doing and like the uniqueness of his world. And it's interesting because I didn't really know that this niche existed about 4 years ago. Obviously I knew that IRAs existed. I knew that, people can contribute and invest with a 401k, like a company sponsored 401k. I was a participant myself with my employers, but I had no idea that there was like this unique way of doing this. Like there was a unique way of investing with a 401k. So we'll talk about that today, obviously. But a little bit about myself personally. I've been married to my lovely wife, Lily, for 16 years now. And we got married in Southern Utah. We met via my mom and her mom, which is kind of a cool story. And we have 4 daughters. Our oldest daughter is 14 years old and our youngest is 4. So we've got a little bit of a spread there. They keep us super busy, and they've definitely taught me how to be more compassionate and kind and sweeter. So it's been fun being a girl dad for sure. They're my life. They're the reason why I come and do things like this with you guys. They're the reason why I work at eQRP, and I try very hard to provide for them in the future and now. So what I do for eQRP is I do a lot of this. I do a lot of networking. I run our partner club as well. And then I do a lot of investment strategy. Coming from my banking background, I spend a lot of time working with high net worth people and strategizing with them and helping them build an investment strategy for their legacy. And I've taken all of that and I provide that to every one of our members at eQRP. Also, I'm doing a lot of social media. That's something that we're trying to build a presence with. And so I've got a social media coach, and he's definitely helping me out. It's been a lot of fun, but sorry, I feel like I'm rambling, but that's a little bit about me. Super pumped to be here. Excited to share a few things that I've got in slides. And then more importantly, I'd love to do a Q&A as well.
Yeah, especially coming from our world, some of the questions that we get are how to raise capital. And, self-directed IRAs, 401k trusts, those are such an untapped resource that people don't realize can be leveraged, especially in this real estate game we play. But even beyond that, so I mean, when I signed up with eQRP, like learning I could actually invest in other assets like precious metals, stocks, just other things beyond real estate or stocks. But every time I open up one of those text messages you guys send, it's like, oh, I could go invest into this, so it's pretty cool.
For sure. Yeah. No, it's interesting. It's kind of like a little secret. Like what we have to offer is kind of a secret, but we want people to know about it. I was actually in Arizona recently with a few syndicators that are members of ours. And we've been working really hard with these ladies to put together an event where we can show their real estate group. There was real estate agents, there were real estate investors, a wide variety of real estate professionals that were in this location, this setting. And it's interesting because a lot of them have been in the industry for 20 years, 25 years even. And they didn't know that this was an option, that you could actually find more capital that you do have access to through your old company-sponsored retirement plan. And it's unique because when I say old retirement plan, a lot of folks leave their old employer and they leave behind a 401k. We onboard a lot of members that are W-2 employees and they've recently had a job change.
So your
And
401k doesn't follow you from job to job. When you go somewhere else, your money just doesn't follow you.
spot on, Caroline. What happens eventually is you start getting letters, right? You start your new job, you start contributing to that company 401k, and before you know it, you get this letter from Empowerment, and it's like, hey, you got to do something with your old 401k. We're going to keep charging you, and if you don't do anything, we're just going to plug it into an IRA. We're going to do everything for you. And then once it goes over to an IRA, which half the time it does, it's like, oh my gosh, what is this IRA even doing for me? You might have a balance of $100,000 that was rolled over into an IRA that you really didn't even know what was happening. You were just so focused on your new job and contributing to that 401k that it's just been sitting there, maybe earning 0.5% in a Wells Fargo or Chase IRA, right?
It's like nothing. That's so little.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think that's what that's the message we're trying to get out there. It's like, do something with that. In fact, let us show you how to do something with that. And then we build upon that. We like to talk about our 4 pillars at eQRP. We provide control. So the first thing that we do is we give them the plan, the 401k plan that they self-direct. They're the actual trustee and administrator of that 401k. So they're the shot caller. As long as they're making the right decisions, like they're making the right investments that the IRS is okay with, and that they're not doing anything that's disallowed, great. They have full control now. Then we follow it up with education. So we educate them on, okay, let's go ahead and make you now an investor. And for most people, it's like, wait, what? You're going to do what? I've got a family. I've got my W-2 job. How am I supposed to become an investor? So I think right away, people are tripping out. Seriously, you can do that for me? Well, yeah, we have all of the tools and resources to show you how easy it actually is to become your own investor. And then we follow it up with community and we follow it up with opportunity. So we actually connect our own members with one another.
That's really cool.
You've got people in our network. They've been with us since, let's just say 2018. They're experienced now. They've been playing the game. They realize now that they've got the power in their hands. So in essence, we make them an influencer, and they influence the coming generation, the new members of 2023. They influence them and support them. And then of course we follow it up with opportunity, like I was saying. So that's where we say, hey, not only do we provide you with the financial services and the education,
Mhm.
but here are some opportunities you can actually invest in. So
That's
that's
pretty
really
cool.
cool. Yeah, because people kind of, they get educated, they get influenced by their peers. And then suddenly they're like, okay, I've got all my tools. I'm ready to go. What's next?
Where do I get
Where do I
started? How do I start making money on my money? Yeah. Okay.
spot on, Caroline?
So
Yeah.
you give
So
options for people to start investing and you kind of show them the returns. Whereas if it was sitting in their
yes,
IRA or they weren't even paying attention to it, they'd be making next to nothing on their money.
you've got it, Caroline. And it's
Hmm.
like, oh my gosh. So, okay, we're fund managers. We actually syndicate deals as well.
Yeah.
We raise capital for big businesses. We also do a lot with gold and silver. We
Mhm.
we have lines of credit. We have deposit accounts that people can leverage. So it's like we've built over a decade all of these really cool tools and resources. And it's almost like it's the litmus test. It's like we give them that chance to like go in and say, okay, I've got all these tools. I'm going to vet these deals that eQRP has for me.
Mm.
And we can kind of walk them through that. It's like everything is in house. So now they can walk away saying, oh my gosh, I feel really comfortable because I can call Joel and say, hey, I read the business plan and the memorandum about this specific syndication. I'm feeling kind of good about it. Like I have some questions. Can I follow up with you? Yeah, absolutely. Let's go for it. And then before you know it, they're signing a subscription agreement. And 3 months ago, they were like they had no idea that they could take their old IRA money and make all of this happen. And of course, that's just like one type of client, right? Like there's clients out there that are pretty good at investing. Like they've been playing this game for a long time. A lot of the viewers and listeners here are probably like, oh, I know about all of this. Like I
Mhm.
know how to be a good investor. Like I'm actually really successful and I have a self-directed IRA. Well, that's a whole nother type of client that we interact with. And those are a ton of fun to interact with because now we're having really dynamic and in-depth conversations. We're working with people who are really experienced.
That's cool. Very cool. I will say, I get really stuck on the semantics and like technicalities. So I may be like an annoying client. I recognize that because this is all new to me. But one thing that I've been super impressed about is if like, first of all, I don't ever want to do things like the wrong way. That's really what like at the end of the day it is. I feel like I'm somebody with integrity, high ethics. I don't want to accidentally do something I'm not supposed to. So it's been really nice to just be able to call or email and be like, how do I fill out my W-9? I have this
Yeah.
I'm investing and I don't know what boxes to check. Like things like that that can really make get you stuck in your head. So that's been really
Yes.
helpful. So I did my very first syndication investment with my retirement recently.
Awesome.
So Pace Morby, who is
Oh,
our
nice.
real estate mentor, he had a 600 unit in Houston, and literally they were asking for like at least $50,000. And I was like, okay, let's see how this works out. Because some of the requirements, of course, is like you can't be like personally benefiting from it and that sort of thing. So I think of it almost, do you describe it as arm's length? Like
That's
you're,
exactly right. Yeah, that's like the industry term,
yeah. So I was like, all right, cool. That's his thing. It's whatever. I don't have to do anything. I'm just a funder or an
like a
lender. Excuse
sponsor.
me.
Oh,
Yeah.
lender. Yeah.
So I sent my money that way. I have a promissory note, all the good stuff. And yeah, sent my W-9. I didn't know how to fill it out because I was like, this is not a LLC. So how do I figure
Right.
out how to fill this thing out? And it was really nice not to have to worry about it. So shout out to Jennifer out there at
Oh my
eQRP.
gosh. Jennifer, she freaking rocks. So I love that you brought this up because you see, Jennifer, um, she comes with years of experience. You have to have that when we're dealing with our clientele. Like we have to be ready at a moment's notice to get hit with questions from like the most experienced investor or the person who's like barely like dipping their toes in it for the first time. And we have to be sharp enough to know exactly what each of them are asking us and what they need. So we can go in and like grab their hand if we need to and walk down that path with them to sign a W-9 and like explain what is a W-9. So I love that because Jennifer came from, she worked for a third-party administrator, and those companies are constantly involved in 401ks. I mean, that's like their bread and butter, right? And I want to make a point that all of us at eQRP, from the top down, we all come with the experience necessary to support our members. So I think what kind of separates us from like the rest, I think there's a lot that separates us from the rest. But if you look at like a custodian, I used to work for a trust company and I know like all of the ins and outs of what goes on behind the scenes, the front end, the operations. And so I can understand where our members are coming from when it's like, hey, I got introduced to you guys.
Mhm.
I'm currently with a self-directed custodian. I've got an IRA, but I don't feel like I'm getting the support that I need with my investments. Like
Mhm.
I'm struggling here, like whether they're like struggling to actually get into an investment, or maybe they're struggling to like get the support they need from the custodian.
Yeah.
Well, we get that a lot. And
Yeah.
Ingrid, it's like you said, I mean, Jennifer's like just right there. She's, hey, I'm going to take ownership with this from start to finish and
Yeah.
make sure you walk away feeling confident.
And that self-directed IRA custodian, they don't work for free either. So
They
once I
don't.
started, do you have any statistics that say, here's like the typical cost, or at least the lifetime cost of
Yeah.
having a custodian managing your self-directed IRA?
That's a really good question. So I don't have anything to like display or like read off of, but I'll tell you this right now. I used to work for a trust company and I
Uh-huh.
was a vice president there. So I know like I know what all the fee structures look like.
Yeah.
Not only that, but my time here at eQRP has also shown me like some of the unbelievable fee structure with some custodians. There's a lot of like big box custodians that might charge over the lifetime of an IRA where the value might be like 100 grand or 200 grand, maybe one asset. They might be paying upfront $1,000, and then they're probably going to be paying $200 to $400 a year, maybe $500 a year, but then they're getting hit with transaction fees.
Mhm.
And that's a really tough one because a wire might be more than just a wire fee. It might actually be like a $400 expense to make sure that the titling is right. Or, you know, if something drags on, maybe the client gets hit with an invoice that's like $1,000 afterward. But I'll tell you this right now, we do have a lot of clients actually that come to us who are honestly paying about 5 grand per year just to maintain an IRA. And it's really sad, honestly, because the amount that they're paying can't really keep up with the amount that they're earning year over year.
Mhm.
And so they do come to us, and yes, they are making an initial investment. And we understand that sometimes there's like trauma where they're just like, wait, okay, I got to pay this to get into your ecosystem. And it's like, yes, but let's walk through all of the benefits that come along with it. And I always like to reiterate, we actually have a way through our ecosystem to have your annual dues waived. So it's like we structured like a specific process so that our members can continue to hold all of their assets in their eQRP plan,
Mhm.
and they never have to pay their annual dues. And so the annual dues really cover unlimited transactions, whether it's filling out a W-9, taking a distribution, investing in several, new assets. We don't charge based on transaction. We just charge a flat rate. But again, we have actually a lot of members that don't even pay for that because they're actively engaged in our partner club. So we
Yeah.
put that together to kind of help solve that expense.
Okay, so I do want to clarify one thing because this is technically a 401k trust, right? That's the actual terminology behind
Yeah,
it.
you're exactly right. Yep.
And so I cannot contribute to it, right? I can only, or other than the investments that I've made that are paying off, but like I still have a W-2, I still have a different 401k because I still want to build that up while other people are willing to pay me money for it.
Absolutely.
But do you
Yeah,
know
let me
why that
talk
is?
about
Or
that.
that's just a regulation, or am I missing something where I maybe can move money? I don't know.
No, I'm gonna go in depth a little bit with that because that is a phenomenal question. Our members have to know that, especially people that are prospects. So I'm going to take a couple minutes and dive into that because you're spot on it. 9 out of 10 of our members are actually W-2 employees. Like they've got their W-2 gig. But yeah, we encourage them to continue to contribute to that W-2 job or that W-2 401k because there's like profit sharing contributions. There's, matching contributions, right? They might match like 6% or something. So it's like, yes, go take advantage of that because that's kind of like free money. But the other thing is you can't take that W-2 income and put it into your eQRP because that W-2 income is tied to that employer. And that employer is who is sponsoring that 401k that you're contributing to. So it's all like put together. It's all tied to one another. So the eQRP plan is unique because it's a company sponsored plan that's actually sponsored by you as an individual. That's how the IRS built those little vehicles. They built it because it's just you. So the only type of contributions a W-2 earner can make is self-employed income. And we've got a lot of those, right? They've got their W-2 gig. Maybe they're working 30 to 40 hours. They're contributing to their 401k at that company, but then they're doing a little bit of freelance work. Maybe they've got some 1099 income at the end of the year. Who knows? Let's just say hypothetically you make $10,000 doing some freelance work, some sole prop work on the side. You can actually contribute all of that into your self-directed 401k that we build for you. That's kind of how they're structured. And the IRS does it that way because, they want to make sure that it's a benefit that's offered specifically by that sponsoring business. That's why they only let you contribute your W-2 money to your employer.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Well, thank you, Landon, for asking that question, especially those of us who still have W-2s and are dabbling and investing on the side. So thank you for that question.
For sure.
So let's see here. I have a question from Nicole. So if somebody is thinking about moving it, they have a self-directed IRA, they want to go and use an eQRP plan. Is that something that they could do?
Yeah. In fact, those are the conversations we're having every day. If we're hopping on a Zoom call because someone heard about us and they went through our channels, they went to eqrp.com and they click that button that says book a call. We hop on a Zoom and before you know it, I'm talking face to face with you and we're having that discussion. We're actually walking down that path of the logistics. Like, oh, cool. You've got an IRA with Quest or you have an IRA with Fidelity or Wells Fargo. Cool. Let's talk about how you roll that over into your eQRP plan or your 401k. And then let's also talk about how we can like strategize with you so that not only are we rolling over the money, but let's make sure that you feel confident in that you're investing your money. Maybe you've got a deal that you've been wanting to get into. Maybe there's like a real estate syndication, or maybe you want to just buy some cryptocurrency with your plan. You can do that and we'll walk you through that whole process.
Yeah. Right on. Awesome. Cool. So if Nicole wants to get a hold of you, how would she get a hold of you so that she could move over her self-directed IRA?
Yeah, the best way is just to email me. I answer my email all day and just emailing me at joel@eqrp.com. I think we can probably post that here so that everybody has a chance to simply email me and say, hey, I was on the podcast with Ingryd and I heard about this. I just want to strategize. Let's talk a little bit more. And if, you forget or you lose like my email address, just try and remember eqrp.com. Enhanced Qualified Retirement Plan.
Yeah, awesome. And if you guys forget, you can also DM me on Instagram and we'll get you guys connected for sure. So we have another one from Wesley. We love Wesley. Wesley is an amazing private money lender. I'm sure he's got all kinds of different vehicles that he uses for lending. So his question is there anything you can do with a 401A or 457B to invest? I know it's not a self-directed IRA or 401k, but could that be used?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a lot of folks that are, or were contributing to a 401A, a 457B. They could have been a physician where a 401k wasn't their retirement plan. Maybe they were a firefighter at one point. we've got a lot of firefighters that we do business with in Arizona, believe it or not.
Mhm.
And, they serve and they do their duty, and then they retire after 15, 20 years. And they're kind of sitting there saying, I got all this retirement money that I've built up, and it's not in a 401k. It's in a different type of company sponsored plan. Absolutely. We roll that over. We put it into the eQRP plan that they manage. And before you know it, they're investing in like super unique deals that they've always wanted to.
Sweet. Well, there you have it, Wesley. Wesley used to be a police officer. So
Oh, nice.
always
Thank
on
you
our
for
best
serving.
behavior when we're around Wesley.
We better be. We better be.
He keeps saying he's no longer on the clock, but I don't trust him that way. I'm like, no.
He still carries the badge and sidearm. That's right.
I'm pretty sure. So no, we love Wesley. So there you go, Wesley. Get a hold of Joel, and he can help you convert that plan. And like I said, for me, I really love the freedom of it. I like not having to worry about it, because I know, at least I know enough right now of what I can invest in. I want to continue learning what else I could potentially invest in, but because I'm a real estate investor, it just makes sense that I also invest in other people's real estate deals. And so my goal, you have different verticals. For me, I'm like, okay, how do I keep building up my retirement plan and see what I can do with it? So it's been kind of cool to have the freedom to do that. Now,
it is.
You're supposed to keep a goodness.
I'm back on. Sorry, guys. I don't know what the heck. I just spent the last few minutes trying to get this back on. There we go.
Oh,
glad to have you back.
I'm so sorry. All right.
You have to keep track of what you invest in, right? Like, what are the?
You do, yeah. I mean, so we understand, like, when people walk into this, they are taking on a new responsibility. It's like, okay, I got to make sure I'm doing the right thing. Like I'm investing in the right things. There's a really small list, like uber small list of things that you can invest in. And most people, when they hear about it, they're like, oh, I would have never needed to or wanted to invest in something like that. But then there's also a small group of people you can't invest with. So,
Ooh,
what
do you mean you cannot invest with?
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't invest in anything that you are an owner of, or like you are a general partner of, which a lot of folks that are already playing in this game know that, but a lot of folks don't. They're like, oh, shoot, I thought I could maybe take that money, invest in the business I've always wanted to start. Unfortunately, you can't. The IRS looks at that as a no-no. And then there's two other lines that you can't invest with. Those are your parents and your children. So it's like this direct lineage that unfortunately you can invest in. Everybody else.
You cannot invest with your parents or children? Okay.
That's exactly right, Caroline. You
Why,
cannot.
is it kind of like insider trading sort of, or what's the reasoning behind that?
No, I think, well, legislation back when self-directed 401ks were established, I think they just made that rule so that it's not self-dealing and that there isn't any like manipulation, so to speak, of the investment. I think they're trying to follow, like, obviously the SEC has a crazy amount of regulations to protect the investors and the partners and so on and so forth. So I think with these solo or self-directed plans, they do try to develop a little bit of tactic to try and avoid manipulation, but that's just my own opinion. But kind of going back to what you were saying, Ingrid, it's like, okay, cool. Now I know what I can and can't do. Now, how do I track that? How do I record keep this? Because when you take this on yourself, you're taking out one of the expenses that you're trying to avoid, which is a record keeper. Mm-hmm. You're now the record keeper. We teach you how to be one. And really, a record keeper is doing two things. They're tracking expenses and they're reporting transactions. So we've actually put together a spreadsheet, and every one of our members can download this as a template. And a lot of our members will leverage just that template, and it's great. They love it. They don't want to change it. Some people even take it and alter it a little bit or build their own. But we've like laid everything out on that spreadsheet with multiple worksheets that are all tied together so that you almost have like your own ledger now. And it's a matter of like documenting, okay, my rollovers, my investments, my distributions, my contributions. And each time any of our members like initiate one of those transactions, they almost always reach out to us. Like you, Ingrid, they'll go to Jennifer and they'll say, hey, I want to do a distribution. Walk me through that whole process. Well, one of the steps is actually record keeping that. So we'll show you on the ledger, okay, this is where you plug it in. This is how you keep track. And then, like I said, that other part of record keeping, which is the reporting. Cool, Ingrid, you did a distribution. So it's really important that you tell the IRS you did that distribution. Here's the form that you used to do that. We actually like fill in that form for you. So we do like a quick survey. You fill out basic information.
Wait,
Okay,
you do all the work for us? You do all
yeah,
of it?
we do. Yeah, so exactly, Caroline, like typically a custodian to do a 1099-R, you're looking at $250 to $500 just for that one event. Could be even more, especially if you go with like a higher end custodian. It could be $1,000. I'm not even kidding. And then let's just say you want to do a contribution, same type of process. We just make sure that we walk you through step by step. Honestly, we have some members that reach out to us monthly because they have quite a diverse portfolio, so to speak. Their eQRP plan is invested in several assets, and they just got questions, just random questions. Can I do this? Can I do that? Hey, I want to make sure I've got this right form. And so we have a whole support team, Jennifer being part of that team. They're just constantly answering the phone. They're responding to emails, messages, texts, you name it.
So what if somebody wanted to set up an eQRP? What is your what's your clock time? Like how quickly could you do it? Because so one of the I won't say their name because I think they're a competitor of yours, but they pride themselves in being able to turn everything over in I think less than 2 weeks. So what have you guys clocked yourself at?
5 days is probably the fastest, but let me break that down. Timing is like super important for everybody because usually people are initiating the conversation with us or a competitor because they found a deal that they have to subscribe to like in a week or two.
Yeah.
That is super hard, and I'll tell you why. So we can get the plan, we can have the conversation, we can have the documents, we can have everything on our end ready to go in like an hour, but we're working with third parties. We're getting everything built and ready within that hour, like I said, and then we're knocking on that custodian's door. And sometimes it's like metaphorically a door, it's like via fax, and I'm not even kidding. And it's like, we might phone them and say, hey, can we initiate this rollover like right now? Sure, go ahead and fax us at this number and we'll reach out to the, IRA owner. So then it's like, shoot, but we're advocating on the back end, like we're muscling through this whole process because that's our reputation. Like we'll do everything in our power to make that happen as fast as possible so that by word of mouth, people are going to say, oh, go with eQRP because they're super quick. But I can say if we went with someone like Fidelity, it's going to be 5-day turnaround time. And I hate throwing out names, but it's the nature of the beast. You go with someone like Camaplan, it could be 3 months. I'm not even kidding, just depending on how many assets they have. So luckily we're doing, quite frankly, probably 25 to 30 of these rollovers per day. During our initial strategy call, we like to ask right up front, like, cool, you're really interested in this. Let's talk about your current retirement plan. Where is it? What is it? Okay, it's with this firm. Okay, and this is the type of plan it is. It gives us an immediate like, okay, we can get this done. And then of course we're asking additional questions like, do you have a deal you're trying to get into? So on and so forth. So the like front end, the receiving party, we're all doing it in the same time. We're all super anxious and quick. We're ready to roll. It's that third party that's going to take their sweet time. Sometimes they have to cash out the investments, liquidate, and it's like this huge rigmarole.
Yeah.
So
very good, Joel. By the way, in sales, we can never be the bad guy. So always have that other person to blame. Good job.
You've got to. You've got to.
Very good. So now we're rolling things over. We're ready to go. You're going to have a general ledger that you would share with us. How much does it cost us to then take that money ready to invest and move it to a plan or a syndication, an investment, or what?
Nothing.
Nothing.
It
So
costs
no
nothing.
wiring fees. Wow.
Nope. We cover all of that. So we've built a partnership. We developed a relationship with a new partner about a year ago, and we structured a process where we are their only client in this industry. We wanted to make sure that we were exclusive to them. B, they built a department, like a team just for us. They built the software just for us. I was actually a part of that whole merger and process. And then lastly, we wanted to make sure that it was seamless, that there wasn't any cost for the client to move any money around. So we take that cost, and hopefully that answers your question.
What does it usually cost, just so people have an idea? What are they saving by deciding to work with you instead of going with Joe Schmo?
Yeah, if it's an IRA custodian, they're probably going to pay maybe $250. That's wire fee plus all of the paperwork involved. If they were, not working with a custodian, it might be $100, maybe $50 if they were lucky.
Okay. Wow.
Nice.
Okay. Good to know. And how often, just because I was texting Ingrid, I really don't, I just turned 30. I've not been paying attention to my 401k as much as I should have. Sorry, there's dogs in the background here.
Hey, no worries.
My biggest, I guess I'm just like, it's new to me, so I don't really even know what to ask. When people decide to like move stuff around, how often are people pulling money out? Like, when you see people weighing the pros and cons, once people understand their 401ks and they have all that money or IRAs that's untapped, how often are people trying to move it typically?
So it's the moment people realize that they have retirement money that they could either use for an investment that they've always wanted to, and they just didn't know that they had that IRA money. It's immediate. The moment they find out, I wouldn't be surprised if there was at least one person on this podcast that is hearing this and they're like, I had no idea I could take 150 grand from my old IRA and like control it and now go put it in that deal that I am potentially going to miss out on in the next week. They immediately call us and we start working. But then there's folks that don't have like that investment deal ready to go. But now they're kind of thinking to themselves, wait a minute, I do have retirement money sitting in an old 401k, and eQRP is not only giving me the vehicle, which that's really all our competitor is doing. They're just giving them the plan and like the control aspect, and they're saying, okay, go and have fun with it. They're going to cost less, don't get me wrong, but we bring in a lot of members that are doing business that way 6 months ago, and they realize, holy crap, I can't, like, I don't know what to do. I rolled over my money. I had to figure that out myself. And it's sitting in my plan. I have no idea what to do. Well, we step in and it's like, cool, let's give you the control. Okay. And you seem excited, like you want to try and do something. Let's have a needs assessment. And so like we start talking about like, what interests you? Is it crypto? Is it real estate? Like, what are you kind of thinking about? And then if they're like, I don't know, like I'm young, like I guess crypto, like I have a Robinhood account, like I'm having fun with that, but that's all I know. All of a sudden we're showing them slides of like alternative assets. And they're just like, I didn't know I could do that. Okay. How does that work? My granddaddy used to invest in real estate. Like, talk me through that. I'll have a 30-minute conversation showing them like the pros and cons of short-term renting, long-term renting, value of investing in a fourplex versus a single family home, and getting involved in a real estate syndication. Before you know it, they're like turning like gelatinous because it's so much information. And then
their mind is melting. They're overwhelmed.
They're melting. And then I say ruminate, and we'll get back in touch in a week, and just, and then before you know it, like they've watched content from, on YouTube about all of this, and they like walk into the next event that we have, and they're just like, hey, I want to invest in this real estate syndication that I just found out about. And it's like, sick. Let's go ahead and get started.
Before you get to Wesley's question, because I think it's really good, Ingrid, I wanted to ask this. So what if people do want to invest in real estate and then Ingrid or I have a property, can we bring it to your company and be like, hey, we have a property that your investors can invest on, and they'll be a lien holder?
Ooh, it's an excellent question.
Yeah, like, can we come to you because we get stuff all the time.
Or let's say not a single family home, because that seems very small of an investment, but who knows? But like let's say we have a multi-family deal. We want to raise funds. We give you the, what's it called? The PPM.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is excellent. We would love to show this to our family of investors or you know, your eQRP clients. Is that something we could do?
Okay, so
give us the secrets. Tell us what's up, because we have opportunities.
Okay, so I'll tell you what we used to. But guess what happened?
Somebody messed up.
Bernie Madoff came around and did something, but we're not Bernie Madoff. We're Ingrid and Caroline.
No, you're right. No, it's so funny because like a huge percentage of our member base, they're full-blown syndicators. Like they're full-blown like raising capital. And the Arizona event I was telling you about, like they were syndicators, like, and we love them and they're our members. So short story long, we don't say, hey, go invest in this deal, but we have a solution for that. But what we will do is like, we'll partner with them and we'll say, let us at least come out and show your investors like what else they can do, kind of like what we're doing here. So we may not say to our own member base, hey, go invest with Ingrid. Let's come to you and let's partner any way you want. And if you want to hear ideas that we have, great. We'll try and get your community kind of like motivated to jump into your deals and maybe try and reach out to others. But we did build a solution because our members are like, cool, what other deals can I get involved in that like aren't yours, eQRP? I've got a ton of money and I need to diversify. Well, we kind of walk them through how to find deals. And then we also built a social media platform for just our members. It's called Badger Tribe. We just launched it this year. And that was a huge ask. And what we did is we built a place for just our members to go and connect with one another. It's like we have a particular section on that site that says open a discussion. And our own members go and they just say, hi, I'm Joel. I'm new to this and I'm looking for opportunity. I love real estate. You know, what's out there? Like, where can I find opportunity? Before you know it, Caroline's like, oh, I was in your shoes a year ago. Like, these were some of the channels that I went to go find these syndicators. And then, of course, they're going to say to themselves, cool, Joel showed me how to vet these deals. He gave me some steps to walk through that process so I could at least walk away with peace of mind. I'm going to go hit him up now. I'm going to go reach out to that group and I'm going to say, show me what you got. I need to read your business plan. I need to read, you know, what does the subscription agreement even look like?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. So I won't tell you about the $65 million deal out here in Phoenix that we're trying to raise funds for.
Whoa. See, that makes me salivate because it's like, how can we help? It's like, we want to so badly because there's so many incredible deals out there. We're raising capital for a deal out in Arizona as well. It's like, there's so much good stuff going on in Arizona and in some other markets. And it's like, I wish we could. Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm hearing you say is I can be part of the Badger Tribe because I have an eQRP plan. And basically I can use that platform to connect with other people and
You got it.
Can I say what deals I have available?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you for asking that question, Caroline. That was fantastic.
Can I throw another one out there?
Yeah.
I got distracted.
Okay. I'm going to share another thing. So we have, I'm so sorry, but I got to share this because it's tied to it. On LinkedIn, we have our members who are syndicators and they'll straight up get on there and they'll say, hey, I'm having a call about this amazing investment opportunity. You know, it's located here and this is what we're doing. And we're super pumped and we're going to have a webinar and Joel Landon at eQRP is going to be, presenting and he's going to be talking a little bit about how to unlock your 401k money, your retirement money. And then when I see that, or if you're, ideally you're going to hit me up beforehand and say, hey, I'm going to put up this post and I'm going to tag you. What am I going to do? I'm going to respond and I'm going to blow that thing up and I'm going to be like, oh, super awesome. This is a great chance for you to tap into unused capital in your retirement fund. So it's like and of course I have a lot of members that are my friends, or at least they're like connected right through my connection. So that's another great way that you can just like spread the word.
That would be fantastic. So, I'm learning about fund to fund. So that way you don't have to come up with all of $65 million. Maybe I come up with $1 million, for example, and then be able to work it through that way. Mm-hmm. So, okay, I wish I knew this 2 weeks ago when I made the decision not to do the fund to fund, because I was like, okay, I'm doing way too many things. But this is good to know for future reference.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. All right, now we're going to get to Wesley's question.
About time.
He wants to know, did Joel say that we cannot invest anything we own, just like any other self-directed IRA? So the owner has to be either a syndication or entirely owned by the account that I'm not.
Good question. Yeah, thanks, Wesley. So I'll kind of like put it in short this way. Your eQRP plan, which is obviously holding that retirement money, it can't invest in an entity. And of course, that's what all of your investments are going to look like. Your plan will invest in an entity. It's going to sign some type of contract or agreement, go into agreement with an entity, and that entity cannot be tied to you directly. So you can't be a general partner. You can't be a member. You can't even be a manager. So, that's what the IRS is going to call self-dealing. And so if I heard the question correctly, yes, it is like an IRA. That's really one of the only like sections of the IRS code that both follow. The 401k and the IRA both follow that specific code, which is no self-dealing. Hopefully
he said, okay, that makes more sense. Thanks, Wesley. Cool. Let's talk a little bit about the differences. Like, why would somebody want to pick 401k trust when they have an eligible retirement plan that they can roll over, whatever it is they're trying to roll over? Why would they pick an eQRP plan over a self-directed IRA? So
we could spend forever talking about it. I'm going to narrow it down to just two things, and they're like really, really big. Mm-hmm. The biggest one is a specific tax that the IRS will hit you with if you use an IRA to invest in debt financed real estate. And it's called UBIT. So that's Unrelated Business Income Tax, and it's triggered by UDFI. Let me just, without getting deep into the weeds of that, I'll just go back to what I mentioned, which is there's a lot of
I'm gonna WYDA. Why? What do you mean? We're going so many acronyms here.
Yeah, there's too many acronyms. IRS, IRA. Yeah, UDFI is what triggers UBIT. UBIT is what is kind of like synonymous with the real estate industry, which is Unrelated Business Income Tax. It could be like that tax percentage could be as high as the corporate rate, and that's a really big burden for anybody who's, trying to 2x their initial investment over 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. And so what happens is, the IRA owner, they go into this real estate syndication. Obviously, it's debt financed. It's a project that is debt financed. And, they don't even know when they go and make that initial commitment and sign the paperwork. They're walking away. It's a passive investment. They feel super good about it. The deal closes in 3 years and like the return is double, right? It's a 2x opportunity and it happened and they're super stoked. Well, guess what happens? They reach out to the IRA custodian. They say, hey, I'm about to get the return on my investment. Like this asset is changing. It's being converted into cash. And then the custodian says, cool, we're going to need to report that. And the IRS is going to tax those gains 35%. And I kid you not, like we get a lot of people that call us and they're just like, what the heck? My IRA custodian is wanting to do this. Can you please help me? we save people a ton of money because they get a phone call maybe 2 months in advance, right? And they're like, hey, we're selling the deal. Like, this is going to be epic. And they somehow catch wind of this whole UBIT thing. Maybe they actually like phone the custodian and they say, hey, in 2 months, this asset's going to liquidate. Just wanted to let you know, like, what do I need to do? Oh, we need to report that and pay some taxes on it. What? And so, yeah, we save people a lot of money because now we have 2 months to quickly roll over that asset, re-register it in the name of their plan. And these guys are walking away with all their gains because it's a Roth 401k and everything was post-tax. Like, there's absolutely no tax on the gains and they're just like sitting pretty, super stoked about it. So the eQRP plan, because it follows a unique tax code, it's not subject to UBIT with debt financed real estate. The other part is the cost. Quite frankly, when you do weigh the two, the plan, the service that we provide, it's so much more robust versus the IRA. The IRA is more transactional based, like the fees are transactional and it adds up a ton over time. Whereas for us, we do charge up front that membership fee to join, but then you get all of the education, the community, the opportunity, all of that really like unique service.
That helps you a ton. I've just realized, Ingrid, like with our community that we're in, it makes it so much easier to understand and you can talk to other people that have been going through similar situations. So that's a really cool perk, that eQRP. I mean, now I'm like, I literally just texted my mom. I was like, what have you been doing with your 401k and Roth IRA? What's going on? So that's a good
it
one.
would be a fun, open discussion. Like I'm thinking about Badger Tribe, the online platform that we have. I would love for one of our members to just say like, who's avoided UBIT? Go. And then just see people who have been like, oh, me, like I saved 200 grand in UBIT tax. I'm not kidding.
Insane.
That's a reality. It's a reality. I'm not kidding.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe how much people are paying in tax. Like when you really look at things at the end of the day, you're just like, I just gave away so much money to Uncle Sam and he's about to just go give it to another country or whatever the heck they're doing with stuff right now, you know?
Let me reiterate another thing. So I'm sure a lot of people wonder, because we do get asked from time to time, it's like, well, who's kind of helping you like learn all of this? Well, yeah, we have all this like experience coming from like all these industries that are tied to the retirement space, but also we have a CPA firm in our back pocket. And they're actually based out of Arizona. So our office and headquarters is in Alabama, but uniquely enough, we work directly with Provision Wealth out of Arizona. And Tim Gertz is kind of like a leader in the tax strategy industry. Well, he's also well-versed in the self-directed 401k space. And so he's there to support us. He's there to educate us if there's changes in tax code. I mean, there was a ton of stuff with Secure Act 2.0. It's like, who were the first people we reached out to? Provision, Tim Gertz, the CPA. And then we also have an advisory firm that we have in our back pocket as well. And they're kind of like a third-party administrator and record keeper, in fact. And so we have both of them. We also have an ERISA attorney that is on reserve. Like we communicate with them so much so that we know, are we doing everything? So ERISA is essentially an act that was established, I want to say back in the 70s. And if you don't mind Googling it, I don't even remember the specific.
How do you spell it?
ERISA. It's like the Employee Retirement something. But
there's so many questions. Ingrid, get to yours because I want questions for me after this. I'm curious.
Okay. And so if you have this partnership with this CPA, I think Caroline and I both get asked a lot, do you have any tax strategists? Do you have people that you work with for, because we are in the real estate space more than anything, we do get asked a lot about people who have more knowledge on the real estate side around taxes, right? Like I'm going to tell you a secret. I still haven't done my 2022 taxes because I'm like,
okay. All right.
Ask for an extension. It's just, I can't even, it's such a big wall to climb for me right now.
For sure.
Because
I get it.
It was like real first year of making like significant dollars, actually buying properties, all of that. So is this a company that we could leverage to as an eQRP Badger tribe person to say, what could this look like?
Yes. So one of my primary roles is having investment strategies with our members. And as we're kind of mapping out, like, okay, what is it that you want to accomplish, Ingrid? It almost always comes up. It's like, okay, I need somebody to help me with my tax strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll partner you up. We'll do a warm introduction to get you in touch with them. And Provision Wealth does take care of our members. Now, don't get me wrong. If you need to build out a potentially complex tax strategy because you're a high income earner and you really want to offset a lot of your tax burden, they will help you find that. Like, they will truly help you uncover, not like gray areas or like, anything that's like non-kosher by the IRS. They're just actually going to show you all of the opportunity and like the tax code in detail and how you can actually leverage that to minimize and mitigate your tax burden as much as possible. So yes, we do partner a huge part of our member base with Provision Wealth.
Sweet.
My turn?
Yeah.
Your turn.
All right. Let's get to the meat and potatoes, because I just turned 30 and I'm like, 401k, Roth, those are going to be later on in life. I'll kind of get my act together and kind of look into them. I was also in the military. And now that I'm thinking about it, I have not paid attention to any of my stuff really at all. Yeah. Okay. And I was like, Caroline, what you fool. So you also
probably have a TSP plan.
Yeah. So how can I get set up with you guys and you can help me find my paper trail of whatever I've left somewhere?
All day long. So
beautiful. I'm like, how much money? I'm 30. I signed up. I joined the military right after I turned 19. How much money do I have set away? And I'm like, Ingrid, I might just be our own little private money lender for all the stuff we're buying right now with my money.
That's right. Yeah. First of all, thank you for serving our country. And second of all,
you're worth it.
We talk with armed forces retirees all the time. Like Andrew was the last guy that I spoke to less than 24 hours ago. He's living in Florida right now. He was Air Force Reserves. And he's got short-term rentals like in his own name. And what's really cool is, yes, he had a TSP plan, rolled it over, and he took a personal loan from his TSP. And the reason he wanted to do that is because he's got this like portfolio of short-term Airbnbs. And he's like, there's another one. He just moved to Florida. And he's like, there's one in Florida I want right now. And so we hooked him up with a personal loan from his 401k. You cannot do that with an IRA.
Yeah.
So he like took out 50 grand and he went and put that down as a down payment on the property that he wanted, secured that. He's going to close on that property soon. He's probably going to have cash flow in like 2.5 months. And for him, that's super important because he wants that in his business. He doesn't, his strategy is not to keep it in his retirement plan. It's to continue to build his business portfolio.
Build the wealth.
That's right. But what's really cool, he's got to pay that loan back to his plan, right? So he's going to take cash flow from that Airbnb that he's already experienced. He knows the numbers. He knows what it's going to look like. He's going to route that money back into his plan to make his payment. He took a personal loan from it, plus the interest back to the plan, because you got to pay interest back. The IRS requires you to. So it's like, okay, he just got this super sick deal. Now he's routing cash flow back to his plan to bring back that balance plus interest. So it's like at the end of his loan, he's going to have more money in it than he did before. Plus he's secured that dwelling. Guess what he's going to do again in 4 years?
Pull it out again and buy another property.
So the 50K that he borrowed, he put like a 4-year term on. And is there a minimum interest he has to charge himself?
Yes, it's prime. So it's a fixed rate. When you write your promissory note, we do that for you. You do have to set that term. And I'm sorry, that
sounds so dreamy, Joel. If I have to do less paperwork, the better. This is coming from a girl with ADD. Every time I look at you, there's hearts in my eyes. I know you can't see it, but imagine little emojis.
I can feel
yeah. Feel the heat coming in?
I really, really do. And it's not because the AC is off. But yes, we'll do all of that. And like, that's what like our members want. Like he didn't really know that that was an option. Andrew's like, yeah, I want to roll this over because I just retired. And he's super young. But then we have this needs assessment where we're like, well, what do you do? Like, oh, well, I love investing in this. I have an Airbnb with my wife as well. So it's like we hit it off and we start just going into detail about everything that he's been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, it's like, cool, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to take money out. Had no idea that that was an option. Let's go.
Yeah, my mind is already spinning because I know my mom used to have 21 Pizza Huts. I know that she had paid a lot into her things. I'm like, oh my gosh, she has so much money she could probably pull out and put into things. And like my sister's in the Navy. I have a lot of friends that are in the military. I'm just thinking of what I would want to get all of my ducks in a row first before I can tell everybody. So I'm already thinking, Joel, we should have you back on here in a couple of months and kind of talk about the process where Ingrid and I are, because I'm going to connect with you. I'm moving my schedule around. Yeah, I want to let me figure, because I'm a big monkey see, monkey do once I understand everything works. Because the first half of this podcast, I was like, I really don't know what we are talking about at all. And now that I'm hearing this, I'm like, ooh, this is going to be super good. So I want to get like this under control, and then probably maybe like August or October-ish, like let's come back in here and talk about how I've been able to deploy the cash that we found that I had.
Would love to do that.
And what we bought with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Okay. Cool.
That'd be fun.
All right, Ingrid, I'm gonna hand it back to you then.
What are some of the limits you have when you're lending to yourself? Because that for somebody like me, like, okay, we just said you can't invest in your own things because they have to be arm's length, but there is a loophole. I'll call it a loophole when you're taking out a loan, which makes sense because I've had a 401k before where I've had a loan to myself, and then I did have to pay an interest, but the interest was to myself. So that was great. It's how I actually bought my last house. I put into my 401k as a loan instead of a cash out, so that I didn't have to pay taxes on it. But the interest rate, you're literally paying an interest rate back to yourself. So it's a
contribution, basically.
Right. Like, I'm like, okay, why would I go take a loan out with the bank? I'd take a loan out with myself, and the interest I would have paid the bank, I'm going to pay myself. So I'm actually
that's
doing another
epic
strategy
that you just said that.
Yeah, like I'm doing another strategy like that. I got myself a life insurance plan where I'm going to lend to myself so that I can lend out to projects that like Caroline and I do. So yeah, if you could. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So
no, it's so cool because, going back to Andrew, he did not know that he was going to be brought up this many times in this meeting, but what really got us to the point where he decided to take a personal loan was because he had bought those Airbnb properties in the past with his home equity line of credit. What has just happened with rates? They have shot through the roof. And so his like variable rate is like 15%. Like it's a crazy amount. So he's sitting there just like, I can't buy another property with that. Like my cash flow won't be enough to like
cover,
cover that. So when he hears that he could set his rate at 8.25, which is significantly less than 15 with a personal loan.
Wow.
And that interest is actually his own money. Like, it's really cool. And it's just funny that you brought up borrowing money. So I want to go back to your question though, because there is a limit. And it's so funny. I just have to drive home the fact that right there, like this whole opportunity with a personal loan, you cannot get that with an IRA. And that's a huge deal breaker. Like people love having the opportunity to borrow instantaneously, like same day. We'll help you wire the money to your account same day if you need it. You can't get that at a bank. Jeez. But the limit is maximum 50,000 of your plan value. And I should say plan value because a lot of people say, well, I only have like 50 grand cash, but I've got like a $200,000 asset. Okay, you're cool. That's a $250,000 plan value. So you can go up to that $50,000 maximum. And the reason I brought up plan value is because it can't be more than 50% of your plan value.
Okay.
So you might have 60 grand in your eQRP plan, you cannot take $50,000 out. You can only take up to half, or I'm sorry, 50% of $60,000, so 30 grand.
Okay.
Okay, that makes
And
sense.
then term limit is 5 years. Some folks like to stretch it out because they're using it to buy, their first property. Some people, make it a 12-month term. So yeah. And then we have so many other like really niche, like products within our ecosystem. And I'll hold on to those so that if anybody's like, hey, I want to learn more, they've got to schedule a call with me and we'll go over
There
more
you go.
of that
Yeah, we need to make that
in
happen.
detail.
There's that sales guy again.
Hey,
Okay.
we gotta
I've
be
got to
mindful
hold
of
on to
time.
some of it, some of the mystery.
I love it. Well, we're already over on your time, so Joel, thank you for everything. I don't want to, take away from your evening. Where are you located? Are you? I don't know if I lost you when I got lost internet there. Are you in Arizona? Or are you over on the East Coast?
I'm in Utah right now visiting family. So I live in Alabama with my wife and 4 girls, but we're all here in Utah right now. So I'm mountain time.
Nice. Where are you in Park City or
So I'm in St. George right now, right at the very bottom, the desert.
Nice. How far are you from Zion?
Oh gosh, maybe a 30-minute drive.
Please go hike Zion for me with your kids.
I would. Angel's Landing, absolutely. I'll go hit that up for you for sure.
Oh yeah, so I was there for Christmas. It was when Southwest went down on the flights, so I was like, okay, I better go get a rental car really quick. So I got a rental car and we drove through, and I was like, well, we might as well see Zion while we're here. So we only got to spend like 40 minutes in Zion, but it was a really good
Love
experience.
that place. Such a nice place.
Well, Joel, before I'm gonna get to my fun question, Ingrid is, and I probably already know the answer. Do you have anything else you want to ask Joel before I bring us home?
No, this is good. We're gonna keep a little mystery, but yeah.
So Joel, what I like to ask at the end of this is, if you could go back at any point in time in your life and talk to yourself for 2 minutes, when would you go back and what would you say to yourself?
Okay, I would go back when I was 16.
Okay.
I barely graduated high school. I went through like a whole bunch of like turmoil in my youth. My parents divorced. It was a huge upset for me.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would tell myself then is, it's going to get great. It's going to be better. It's going to get better. Things are going to work out. It's not as bad as you think it is. And just like work hard, because it's life is good. When you've got your family, you've got your career, there's so much to, live for and be happy for. So that's what I would say.
Ooh, I haven't heard anybody say they'd be 16 and go back. That's a good one. Oh, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
Great.
Thank you.
I need to get, so now that I want to get started in all of this, I will journal. I will track my journey for everybody, so you guys can see somebody who's been a goober and not paying attention to their 401k. So you guys can all see the process. What is the best route for me? Should I just get your information from Ingrid, or should I be talking to Jennifer? What should I be doing here?
So 2 things. Reach out to Ingrid. I mean, you're a part of her network. She'll get you in touch with me. Mm-hmm. But you're more than welcome to email me at Joel, Joel, at eQRP.com. Thank you, Ingrid, for putting that up on the screen for those that are watching as well. And that's a great way to get in touch. You could visit our website as well if you want, eQRP.com, and you can always schedule a call there.
Perfect. I'm definitely connecting with Ingrid, because I think Ingrid's going to hook me up with like a promo code that she has. So I'm going to go through Ingrid. Ingrid, do you have this on your Linktree page yet?
Well, not yet. Joel and I have talked about affiliate program. It's going to be up in about a couple of weeks, he told me. So we'll definitely have him back. I think now that we've all kind of better understood all the benefits of this, I honestly think we should have you here at least once a quarter, because it could be a fantastic strategy for us to help folks know how they can better care for their money while working with myself and Caroline and investing into different opportunities that I'm sure we'll come across. So
absolutely,
this will be great. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, Joel, thank you so much for your time. I just want to say, if you guys are still on here, if you're watching the recording, please click the like button, subscribe, and actually share this. If you think this can help somebody, during this podcast that we were recording and hosting, I've already texted 4 people. So help your friends. Like, we need to get away from Uncle Sam taking all of our cash. Let's set ourselves up for success in the long run. And then, Joel, if you ever make it out to Arizona, we'd love to have you over for game night where we play cash flow, because the biggest thing I realized from cash flow, I'm like, I need to get my money working for me. So come over. You're always welcome to play.
Awesome. Appreciate that invite. Thank you.
Ingrid, good to go?
Yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you back next week, like every week, Wednesday at 4 p.m. Arizona time. Don't forget to like and subscribe our pages on our channels on YouTube, and we hope to see you next week.
Woo. And if you have anything you want us to buy, send it our way. Bye, everybody.
Bye.